Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content. Are the Cavs the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics in the East? Right now, it would seem like it. The Cavs have beaten the Boston Celtics. I know people like to discount that victory, but the truth is, the same way that the Celtics' victory over the Cavs counted and mattered for them, even though the Cavs had injuries on that front. It's the same ways that, yeah, Boston had injuries when the Cavs beat them, but there's no guarantee that both teams are going to be extremely healthy whenever they meet in the not in the finals, but in the playoffs, because that's just what the NBA is. I mean, last year when the Cavs played Boston, Boston wasn't 100% healthy. The Cavs weren't 100% healthy, and it went however it went. So you can't count on full health. I think that makes the Cavs a contender. But let's see what ESPN is talking about. Do they think the Cavs are the biggest contender to beat the Celtics?
Michael Wilbon, which team do you think is best equipped to challenge Boston?
Best equipped
Yes.
to me also includes emotionally. We can go through and talk about rosters and all that sort of thing, but emotionally, the Knicks, given what they've gone through, particularly last postseason, Malik, and you know you always tease me about how I talk about how you have to have some misery. The Knicks had that. With all the injuries, as close as they got, I think the Knicks are, but I'm falling in love with a team that is sort of off the board.
Okay, first let's address the Knicks thing, right? Because I think this is a comfortable place a lot of people fall into. Um, I don't get Michael Wilbon's reasoning here. He's saying, oh, because they went through misery last year, that makes them a tougher contender. This is some shit you can only get away with in national media if you're talking about the New York Knicks. You cannot say this about a smart market team and get away with it. Like, because the Knicks lost in the second round to the Pacers, a 7 seed, they are more equipped to beat the Celtics than the Cavs. I think that's kind of insane. Like, you can make your arguments, okay, well, the Knicks got better wings. They got OG that might match up better versus the Celtics. I'm not saying that you have to default to the Cavs are a better option. But to say because they failed in the playoffs last year, like, yeah, the Cavs got that too. What you mean? The Cavs failed in the playoffs the last 2 years. Last year, they really failed. They just got injured. But that first year, I mean, I didn't see anybody saying the Cavs look like they could be a championship contender and eliminate the former champion because they lost in the playoffs the year before. But with the Knicks, that's like, what are we doing, dog? I don't know. Oh, Mike Wilbon is a legend in this game, and he has had plenty of great takes. I don't think that's one of them.
I think the Knicks are, but I'm falling in love with a team that is sort of off the board up there or further down the board. You know who that is? Orlando. And if you tell me that Orlando is going to go into March 1st healthy with Banchero and Franz Wagner playing like they are, I might hedge that bet.
Huh?
Now, it is interesting, you know, there is a team up there that did beat the Magic in a 7-game series last year when they had Franz, the other Wagner, and they also had a healthy Paolo Banchero. You can also argue the Cavs were a much worse team last year when they beat the Magic in a 7-game series than they are right now, because Evan Mobley has made some leaps. Darius Garland is healthy. And again, we'll see if Darius Garland is healthy come playoff time this year. But I just think it's interesting that the Knicks get to leap the Cavs, who the only team in the NBA with a better record than the Celtics. The Knicks get to leap us because the Knicks lost to the Pacers in the second round and then traded half the roster. And the Magic get to leap us off vibes. Like, just pure vibes. Cavs beat them in the playoffs last year, beat that incarnation of them. They have a better record of it. There's no justification for it. It's just, all right, well, they're a bigger threat to the Celtics. I don't get why Michael Wilbon was so allergic to say, hey, the Cavs might have a shot at being able to do it. Maybe He just doesn't trust them. Maybe the New York series from 2 years ago sticks too strongly in his head, but that's kind of nuts to me. I mean, the Cavs literally just came off a win at the point of recording this video over the Celtics.
Perfectly constructed team in order to beat the Boston Celtics healthy in the seven-game series. When I look at the Knicks, when I look at the Cavs, and even the Magic, can they compete with Boston in a 7-game series? Absolutely. Would I pick them to win them, beat them in a 7-game series right now? I would not. Here's the thing. When you look at the Cavs and you look at the Knicks, you know what separates the Knicks from the Cavs to me?
What?
And I've been watching the Cavs closely. Do they have the perimeter play to put up buckets? Absolutely. They don't have the perimeter play to defend. Right? They trying with Okoro, but he's just not cutting the mustard. When you look at what the Knicks have, and Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, who will cut you everywhere but loose, and OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby, what he does defensively, I think is no other player in the league outside of him and maybe Drew Holiday, Derek White, that brings what he brings at that size and length.
You would swear the Knicks were a better team than 14-8. The way people talk about that damn roster. Like does actually winning the games you play matter? Like, real question. Does actually winning the games because all I'm hearing is, the Knicks they're unstoppable. They're going to be able to guard every wing that's ever existed, but they're not doing that right now. They got all of that, but like the Cavs are doing a better job defending wings than they are. The Cavs had 2 bad games against wings. And like those 2 games were before and after Thanksgiving. You could guess what happened in that one, right? But all of a sudden now we just talk about the Knicks like this crazy. And like, are we sure Boston? Like, we talk about Boston real crazy right now. Like Perk said, you got to be perfect to beat a team like Boston. Boston is a really good basketball team. I don't want to take anything away from them. Boston is a strong and serious championship contending basketball team. But why are we talking about the Boston Celtics like they're the damn 73-win Warriors or the KD Warriors? They're not that good. Like, they're really good, but they're not as good as Perk making it out to be right now. Like, do you got to be perfect to beat Boston? No. Do you got to be really, really good to beat Boston? Yeah. But they're not abnormal. They have flaws. They have strengths. They're not the Warriors with KD on it. They're not overpowered. They're beatable. I'm just tired of hearing about Boston being talked about this. Now, maybe I'll get proven wrong in the playoffs and Boston's inevitable, but they've won 1 championship, man. And that 1 championship they won, they went through a whole injury-riddled East to get it. Like, they beat the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. They beat a Cavs team that was out Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland at points. Like, Boston's run last year wasn't that impressive if you look at like what they had to go through. And again, you can't count on health. They beat who was in front of them, and they are the champion last year, and they deserve that title. But if I'm going to talk about them as an unstoppable force, as if they're the KD Warriors, they're not the KD Warriors. They're a really good damn basketball team. But they're not a team that you have to be perfect against. And again, if you're making the argument that you have to be perfect to beat the Boston Celtics, how are you picking the 14-8 Knicks as the best threat versus the team that is proven to play at a higher level, more consistent? Again, man, you hear them talk about Boston, you hear them talk about the Knicks, especially when they talk about the Knicks, you would swear the Knicks are like the 2 seed right now in the East. They're not, though.
So they're equal.
The Knicks have the big wings that you need to deal with Brown and Tatum. The Cavs have the roster that you need. Neither one of them have the total package. Right. And Giannis, he's got some stuff, but they don't defend well enough. So I don't think anybody.
You brought up Giannis. You brought up the Milwaukee Bucks. They face the Boston Celtics tonight, so it's time now for setting the pick.
Do y'all am I missing something? Is Boston actually this good? Like, again, I'm not saying Boston is not a really good team. I'm not saying Boston isn't a top-tier team in the NBA. I'm not even saying that Boston isn't the best team in the NBA right now. I do think that's true. But is Boston this much better than the rest of the league that nobody can compete with them? Like, this is ridiculous. Like we used to talk this way about teams that had LeBron on it, about teams that had Steph Curry. There is not a LeBron or Steph Curry on that Boston roster. Like, you can make the argument that you think Jason Tatum might become that one day, but Jason Tatum ain't that. Like, we're talking about this team like they got Kobe on it. Like, this is kind of like it's Kobe and Shaq and they're inevitable. They're not that strong of a roster, right? Like, and again, best team in the NBA for sure. Really good roster, really good construction, really deep roster. I'm not doubting any of that. But this is not an inevitably good basketball team. This is just a really solid team. Like, you can make the argument, if you look at you can make the argument too that what we usually call teams that win a championship that feel like flukes are teams that win a championship without having one of the 5 best players in the world. I think before last year, the most recent team was the 2014 Spurs, who were not a dynasty, right? Good team. They made a run for a couple of years, but they weren't this inevitable dynasty. And I think that the Boston Celtics are much closer to that than they are the Warriors, like prime peak Warriors, Kevin Durant Warriors, inevitable. It's not even fun to watch basketball because you know they're going to win it. And I feel like they're trying to make it feel like that's what they're going to be. But I just see no evidence that that's the case with Boston. Like, again, really good team, best team in the NBA. But it feels like they overrating them a little bit, in my opinion. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.